In this episode of the Longevity and Wellness Podcast, I sit down with board certified surgeon Dr. Jonathan Schoeff, also known as Dr. John. He coined the term precision medicine. This man is just a specimen of a human being. He lives, eats, breathes longevity, biohacking, and wellness. We met each other last year, 2025, at a medical event in Toronto, and we hit it off so quickly. He was talking about all sorts of different devices that he uses in his practice, both for preventative care as well as restorative care when it comes to recovering from surgeries, as well as, of course, his passion, which is longevity and, of course, precision medicine. If you're curious about peptides, if you're curious about nutritional supplementation, if you're curious about what really will help you move the needle in your pursuit of betterment, personal health, and longevity, this episode is for you. I know you're going to really, really enjoy it. You're going to be able to share this with someone. All that being said, I hope you enjoy this episode. This little device right here will instantly relieve your sore pain as well as improve your blood circulation. Here's how. It's got the magic of a suction as well as red light therapy, and it's got heat, and it's got tense technology. So all you have to do is put it on your joints. For example, let's say I've got tennis elbow. I'm going to engage the sucking, and so look, check this out. Now we've got a full-on suction, we've got red light therapy, we've got heat, and the vibration of the tense technology. And this thing's not going anywhere. This is just as good as going to a massage therapist where you're getting the cups. So if you're reading, if you're studying, if you're meditating, if you're doing some paperwork, and you just want to relieve any area of your body that's hurting, you can hook this up and get immediate relief made by Zenus by Earth. And you'll be able to see these guys at the expo at the Zero Gravity booth. Today's guest is Dr. Jonathan Schoeff, known as Dr. John. He's the co-founder and medical director of the Longevity Lab in Denver, Colorado. He is a board certified surgeon and former collegiate athlete. There's no surprise there if you're looking at him, who brings together clinical expertise, personal experience with injury recovery, prevention, and years of research in metabolic health and performance optimization. Dr. John coined the term precision longevity medicine, which I absolutely love. It is a data-driven model designed to eliminate guesswork. It's designed to optimize health and performance. His approach uses advanced diagnostics to establish clear starting points, foundational points, build individualized treatment plans, and continuously adjust based on measurable feedback. Also, measurable, operative word here in today's conversation. At the Longevity Lab in Colorado, he works with high performers who want clarity, efficiency, and true outcomes. Not trends, not gimmicks, not hypes, and certainly not wasted efforts. Dr. John, welcome to today's episode.
I've actually been looking forward to this as we've talked offline more than you know. So it's a pleasure to be here.
For the viewership, they can clearly see, but for the listenership, Dr. John, to me, looks like an all-American athlete star from the United States. Just a specimen of a human being, 6 foot, jacked, ripped, handsome, and very, very smart. So I'm excited.
And I paid good money for you to say that. So it's going to pay off.
So let's hammer some questions. There's some hot topic that I'd like to dive into. The most expensive mistake biohackers are making is trying to optimize before testing. Is that true?
It's 1,000% true. And this brings up an even bigger issue I see in the longevity space. I was in a meeting yesterday, and we have a world now that's defined by healthcare consumerism. And in that world, the direct to consumer market has exploded. Right? I've been doing a series on continuous glucose monitors. How does that matter for the high performer, for the metabolically healthy or unhealthy? Never before, though, can a patient, think about this, can a patient order 300 biomarkers for themselves, there was always a gatekeeper called a doctor. Can they accumulate, again, millions of data points from a glucose monitor, from a wearable? Now, so this idea of biohacking has it followed that trend. We now have a wealth of data, and hopefully we cover this in this conversation a little bit, but the reality is there's a lot of people with let's say, I'm going to say conflicts of interest. There's a lot of wellness enthusiasts that are running lab tests. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that are really excited about peptides. And what we've created is a very bizarre, if you will, world where the consumer is now in complete control, but they're also inundated with not necessarily true medicine, but heavily influenced by marketing. These are marketing strategies. And the number of clients that come to me from, I'm not going to say the specific platforms, but come to me with a stack of lab tests. And they say, Doc, I paid my $350 to you know what, and the AI spit out this, and this, and I tried it and it didn't work. So I reached out for a doctor's appointment, and they said, well, there's no doctors available. And so now I'm here with information. What do I do with it? So biohacking can be tens of thousands of dollars wasted because there's no data interpretation. There's no mechanism to implement. You know, you hit the nail on the head. The word I use is strategy. It's all about strategy. Okay. Information, knowledge is power. Well, knowledge is also anxiety, because now I've got a bunch of numbers. I plug them into ChatGPT and it says I could die tomorrow. What do I do? Right? So where the investment, I think, has to exist in the biohacking space is investing not just in tools and technologies, but in experts that can bridge that gap.
Most high performers are metabolically dysfunctional. They just know how to hide it. Yes or no?
I think when you look at the strictest definition of metabolic dysfunction, if you look at the strictest definition of metabolic dysfunction, metabolic inflexibility, which in the human body is insulin resistance, I would agree that insulin resistance is highly pervasive. And to the degree that the human body can overcome that, the greatest tool we have in the human body to mitigate insulin resistance is muscle. So when you look at highly fit individuals, take, for example, the bodybuilder community. The degree of insulin resistance within the bodybuilder community is quite high, but they buffer with an incredible threshold of skeletal muscle, right? The same actually can be said, and I've saw a recent podcast on a triathlete who was at peak performance and whose hemoglobin A1C was 6.1. So when you look at those parameters, you have to consider deeper that fitness and metabolic health are not one and the same. Now, it's an important topic to unpack. I mean, that's where I spin my wheels. That's my wheelhouse, right? Because they can be synergistic. They can and should be synergistic, but just by themselves, no, there isn't that guarantee. It's a great point.
Well, you just said some bodybuilders are not or do not have metabolic flexibility. You said there's a level of resistance.
Absolutely.
Like, to look at that, it would be very difficult to comprehend.
Yeah.
Well, they're eating carbs like every single meal, huge amounts. So is that possibly why?
So the great debate rages on. Let's talk. I mean, insulin resistance is most clearly linked to glycemic variability, glycemic excursions. It is a glucose-driven phenomenon. Now, when you get into the debates, and I think this is really important for people to consider, because all the noise from the nutrition PhDs and a lot of these people out there, I won't name names, that talk about good carbs, bad carbs, no carbs, all carbs, that whole conversation is contingent on very antiquated data. And the truth of the matter is this: in short-term studies, which all the studies looking at the development of metabolic dysfunction acutely are 6 to 12 weeks. Last I checked, humans are alive for a lot more than 12 weeks. Okay. But no, consider this. And this is kind of where it gets crazy. The gold standard in the nutritional literature is a 12-week study, right? And in that data set, saturated fatty acids, SFAs, do indeed exacerbate metabolic dysfunction at an accelerated rate. But the problem here, when you compare saturated fat to glucose, we're doing these behaviors leading to glycemic variability on the order of 10, 15, 20 times a day for decades. That's where the narrative flips. And so at the end of the day, yes, glucose metabolism is the progenitor of insulin resistance and metabolic disease. And oh, by the way, when you look at saturated fats versus glucose, the toxicity profile, elevated saturated fats have significantly less. I mean, we're on the order of exponentially less impact on the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, dementia. I can do the whole list for you, right?
Sure.
The bad actor is glucose, but it's important here to say this too. Just be clear. The real bad actor, want to talk ultra processed foods, it's added sugar, unequivocal. There is no health benefit to added sugar. Everybody then wants to kind of roll into the carbs conversation. They're not the same thing. Okay. Big food. And I know, I think, this applies, I think, less to Canada, as America is obviously top dog, but added sugar is what's killing people. I mean, we can go through the data, but the addition for I don't know if you saw this meta-analysis recently, Brendan, but for every additional 12-ounce sugar-sweetened beverage in your diet, the risk of type 2 diabetes increases 25% for each can of Coke.
At an already existing population that's already pre-diabetic.
Correct. So if you can't connect those dots, I'm stuck. I can't help you.
Dr. John, truth or false? Longevity without data is just expensive guessing.
100% true. In fact, I don't even think it really exists without data. And I think that's where we alluded to this, but this is where the gap with the docfluencers and the fitness folks talking about longevity, in the absence of data. And I'll say this as a physician, when I started my own personal journey into the longevity space, well before we opened our practice, I'm ashamed, but I will be honest to say that the number of blood markers I used and the number of analytics like body composition data, body metrics that I used in my practice were almost zero. And I thought I was hitting it out of the park. So I understand why it happens. But to practice in my space is precision performance longevity medicine. It's plain and simple, data-driven, results-focused. The ultimate metric that defines success is not me outperforming you. It's me outperforming myself. Because if I do that day over day, the cumulative effect puts me way out ahead, right? So without data, how on earth do you know where you are, where you're going? How do you know if an intervention is working? And you see this all the time, right? The people that call you and they're like, I've been doing X, Y, and Z for 3 months and I don't think I'm seeing the results. I say, well, what was your starting body composition data? Where are you at now? Well, my scale weight was X. Okay. So we don't even have information to say one way or the other, right? I mean, that even the idea that we're still using the words weight and loss in health and longevity conversations is bizarre, right?
Sure. It's archaic. It's dated.
Scale weight's meaningless. It is irrelevant. I see your posts. You're doing well for yourself, right? Fitness is, body comp is the ultimate flex. It's real. You know why? Because it's free, and it's also only one way to earn it, right? The richest person in the world can't slap down $1 million and get a six pack. So, but the idea that, and this I see very much so in my high performer client base, is efficiency becomes equally important to the outcome. Because if I tell you, Brendan, we're going to get you jacked, and it's going to take like maybe a couple years, and we'll make some adjust, right?
Yeah.
What
not
you're
for a high performer.
No, I've got a job, I've got a family, I've got businesses, I have all these things, and even take high performers off the table. Just the average person that is really serious about, hey, I want to make these changes. 3 months into a process, I truly believe it's 60 to 90 days, and there isn't definable, quantifiable, right? Like you said, change. I mean, the brain starts saying, I don't know if this is working. So that's where I think without data, you're spinning your wheels. And unfortunately, there's a lot of very well-intentioned people that maybe don't have a lot of money. And I sit down with these people and I look like, what did you spend in the last year on supplements, diets, coaching strategies? You add that up, and I'm going to save you money just by using data.
I'm so glad you said that, because I think as a new practitioner, when we're right into clinical in our early years, our intentions are to save our clients and patients money. And I think with that mindset, we think that we can save them without the testing, but then with time, it's just like, what are we doing? Let's get right to the cut, right to the chase. Let's test.
Brendan, dude, post that. You just hit the nail on the head, and that it absolutely was a big piece of my thinking. Is here's $200 on these labs. Can I do we really need that? Oh, my InBody cost 15 grand. I mean, that was an investment. And I look back, so I do all my own in-house metabolic testing. I do all my RMR, AMR, my nutritional program. Everything's right here. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, like you said, consolidating down to a cost that delivers a result is a much better economic model. But you see the online coach and, it's $99 a month. And the sad truth is, I mean, that's why big gyms stay in business. They want you to sign up and never use the membership. You make that is such a good point. Such a good point.
This is a great segue from what you had just mentioned. Different wording. The wellness industry rewards bro science, not real science. Yes or no?
Yes. Disturbingly so. The wellness industry, I've seen various figures. You can weigh in on this, 6-7 trillion. I heard a podcast not too long ago that I got to say, it shook me to my core. And here's why. The presenter said this, it was a business podcast, and said, all these businesses, they were listening, Lifetime Fitness, this, that, and the other. They all want a piece of the wellness wallet. When did we go from healthcare to the wellness wallet? The problem is the healthcare consumer doesn't realize that they are the wellness wallet. So there are people firing in all directions at them, trying to get a piece of the wallet. And unfortunately, and I say this all the time, like, I think expertise comes in a lot of different forms. I've learned that, and I have some really respected relationships I've developed through social media, through controversy, through a lot of different platforms. Being a doctor, having MD after my name, means I went to medical school. Okay. Everything that happened after that is what defines my clinical acumen, my practice as a physician, right? You agree? So the difference between me and a gym owner is I actually have a moral, ethical, and legal obligation to prioritize your health. No matter what social media says, that's actually something I'm bound to. And so I literally see comments on my posts all the time about, I would trust a guy who looks really fit over a doctor telling me what to do about my health. I'm like, and as you're typing that, that doesn't like ring a bell. You don't think that is kind of the mindset, I think, of a lot of people. And there's a lot of distrust that's developed between physicians and patients. And I understand it. And I think, you know what, I think the number one driver of that is, it's the antiquated idea as physicians that we don't have to practice what we preach, that you can be an expert because you read a book, not because you lived it. The thing I said to a client day one, round one, this is who I am. I'm never, ever, ever going to ask you to do something I don't do myself. You want to drop and do 20 push-ups? Let's go. You want to meet me at the gym? Let's go. You want to meet me at the restaurant and strategize about how to eat right? The coolest thing we rolled out January 1 in our practice is our client visits. We have a walk and talk option. We get out of the office, we walk down the street to this really nice park with a lake. That's where we're doing a consult. We have to live and breathe. How else are we need to inspire. We need to set a standard that's off the charts. You sitting behind a microphone and telling me to carry my body weight and that's going to extend my lifespan, and then me giving you your body weight and you falling down, that doesn't count. And the other element to it, I think, and this is why the fitness guys have a draw, they look the part. And yes, it's a bunch of pretty marketing and lighting and this, that, and the other. But hey, I mean, I want to improve my physical appearance, my physique. Brendan, look at the guys in social media, the physicians. I'm not buying it. You look sloppy and out of shape. Like, how are you going to tell me, okay, VO2 max is the most important metric? You would get on a treadmill and die. I mean, it's insane. And so that's something that I think we have to lean into. And I think the next generation of physicians, I'm seeing it more connect with a lot of young physicians. But like, we owe it to our profession and to patients to rebuild trust around an actionable plan that we live. And the fitness influencers, I mean, they catch my eye. I mean, listen, I look at a guy, I mean, you and I both know this, Brendan. Get rid of all the crap and the noise. There's no amount of lighting that's going to give you a six-pack, okay? You're going to go in there, you're going to grind, you're going to earn it. The six-pack's a flex. It is what it is. Why are we dancing around the topic? So as a physician, I damn well better be able to maintain. And then that's so much of the conversation too, because then I can hold someone else accountable and say, listen, you know, I'm doing it. You can do it too.
Recovery is the most neglected performance enhancer in the world. Yes or no?
Recovery is the ultimate biohack. Forget PBM, forget this, forget that. Recovery, and the most powerful recovery tool we have is sleep. Period. People want to come in and ask about, should I be on resveratrol? And you're sleeping 5 hours a night. David Sinclair, I'm going to save my money, bud. That is where I think this whole biohacking thing has gotten so blown up. people are, we're talking about biohacking conferences and all these technologies. Unless that technology puts you to sleep and keeps you to sleep. Now, again, we can talk about those, right? I mean, infrared wavelengths, even some PBM, there are great tools to augment sleep, but ultimately recovery, in fact, as we age, recovery becomes the only means to progress. And that's the greatest failure, right? For all of us. And in the past, it's been the failure of bro science, which is you can always out-train X. You can't out-train a bad diet, just like you can't out-train bad sleep habits. And I think we're starting to understand that more and talk about it more. But you said it, like biohacking without data. Like, you go spend, if you're going to spend, listen, Brendan, if you're going to go spend $8,000 on a biohack, do it on a sleep aid. And I'm not going to name names, but do it on something with reproducible data that optimizes sleep. That's an investment. And it's that easy.
Now I know why Grandpa liked his afternoon naps.
It's you go back there. The older generations had a few things right. One was breakfast is the most important meal of the day. No, I'm not talking about Kellogg's, but fuel with a purpose, right? Sleep is the most powerful tool. And I'm a strategy guy, right? I think of this one client I have, young, mid-30s right now, just had his first child. The guy's sleep cycle's wrecked. He's still trying to perform in the gym. He's a CrossFit guy, elite CrossFit. We sit down and we map out sleep strategies. How are you going to do it within the confines of your current situation? Because what good is it? That's another piece of the puzzle, I think, that we have to be considering as physicians. If I tell you go take 1,000 pills, do 30 injections, I might as well tell you nothing, because it's never going to happen. Everything has to fit within who you are, within the confines, and what's going to move the needle most. When you talk about sleep and recovery, my strategy with this young guy is, hey, I want you to take the early night sleep cycle post-training, right? Why? I want to optimize your slow wave, deep sleep, growth hormone optimization, and really leverage, in that case, executive function, REM sleep, I would say, is less critical short term, right? So you can begin to strategize. And that, to me, that's biohacking, by the way. It's not some fancy $20,000 thing you listen to. It's common sense, but it's strategizing.
I like to end the conversations with the guest sharing one message to the world. How would you like to, and what would you like to embark to the listenership and viewership?
There's a lot of noise around longevity. Is it a socioeconomic status symbol? Is it some hocus pocus that's off on the fringe of medicine? Longevity is pure and simple, longer, better life. And the most powerful tool to achieve that is through muscle. It's muscle health. So all the expensive protocols, all the bright, shiny objects we see out there, the biohacking, this, that, and the other, here's the beauty of muscle. Muscle's longevity, muscle's medicine, muscle's the great equalizer. And muscle is the same whether you're rich or poor. There's only one way to make it. And I think the key that we lose sight of so often is move intentionally. Progressive overload is not a new idea. You don't need a fancy gym or a biohacking coach to freaking go lift your kids' grocery bags. I don't care. Build muscle, and you literally are healthier for it. That's longevity.
Beautiful. I love it. I like to conclude with every episode. In life, we are presented with thousands of choices every day, you included. And I just like to thank the viewership, the listenership, and yourself, Dr. John, for choosing to be with me and us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the Longevity Wellness Podcast. Hit a like, hit a share. If you like this, share this with someone. I definitely know that there's going to be some practitioners out there who would significantly benefit from listening to Dr. John, as well as clients, potential patients. The whole world would benefit from these messages. So be sure to share this, and we'll see you on the next episode. Canadians are asking two questions right now. How do I feel better, and how do I live longer? Your search has led you here. 3 days with speakers who've changed lives, vendors with tools that actually work, and real people asking the same questions that you are. Proudly Canadian, the best minds in health, all in one place. And you're invited. Longevity Wellness Expo, Toronto, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the theater at the Great Canadian Casino Resort, Toronto. If you're into longevity, wellness, and biohacking, maybe you've heard of the benefits of inhaling hydrogen. I'd like to introduce you to Axiom H2. This device is using an electrical current through distilled water and extracting the oxygen from hydrogen. Hydrogen, think of it this way. Oxygen is like the fuel for the cell and fuel for our body. Hydrogen cleans up the cells. Hydrogen is one of the smallest molecules on the planet. Now, what's so amazing is there's so much studies and research showing that hydrogen can dramatically reduce inflammation. It can improve cellular regeneration. Like I said, it can bind to free radicals and help eliminate them. If you're a clinic owner, maybe a long-term care facility, a chiropractic, any type of professional setting would benefit by having one of these devices in your space. Heck, even a spa can benefit because your clients can be breathing this in all while waiting or getting their services done. Now, if you're a home, this is going to be great. You can be sitting at the desk. You can be reading. You can be meditating, all getting the benefits by inhaling rich hydrogen. Axiom H2 is going to be at the expo. We can't wait to showcase them. So if you're interested, all you have to do now is get yourself a ticket, www.longevitywellnessexpo.com, and we'll see you at the expo October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Toronto. In this episode, we're going to be discussing and having some great conversations with Tom Kerber. Tom Kerber is the founder of SunPower LED. It is a Canadian manufacturer of high-grade, even medical-grade, red light therapeutic devices. And we're going to delve into lots of the nuances and intricacies all about red light therapy because it is trending more than ever in the biohacking and longevity space. Even it's starting to cross different bridges in different aesthetics and beauty applications. And it's really starting to become more mainstream. So it's very exciting times, but there's also some challenges that come along with that. There are a lot of different products and there's a lot of confusion out there. So I think we're going to discuss that as well. And you can help clear the air a little bit. So first and foremost, Tom, thanks so much for doing this. I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Well, Brendan, I'm so glad that you've opened this door for me to be on your podcast. Tremendous opportunity for us to share what we've been doing for the last little while.
Yeah, and it's obviously this started from the Longevity Summit. And I don't remember how. I think it was Paul that reached out to me, and he's obviously a team member with you. And yes. I can't remember how it happened, but you guys got a nice big honking booth, and there was a lot of traffic and a lot of excitement at your booth, and people were trying your devices. So it was really, really exciting.
Yeah, it was. It was a great event.
Cool.
I'm
Okay,
really
so what?
Glad we were able to be there.
Thank you. Well, why don't we start off with why don't you share briefly the origin of SunPower LED and what inspired you to get into this therapy?
Okay, so if you would have said to me, Tom, take this light and shine it on your shoulder, and your shoulder is going to get better. If you'd told me that about 17, 18 years ago, I'd have told you you're smoking something. Like, there's no way I could believe that somehow light is going to do anything on your body. But our bodies are very intricately created, I believe, when it comes to they can also absorb, the cells can actually absorb those lights. And, we just don't even think of it. Our eyes are little solar collectors that are picking up light and converting it to electronic pulses that your eye then does the algorithms to, or your brain does the algorithms to try and figure out. I'm just going to mute this here. You're to do the algorithms to figure out that there's Brendan's face, there's his eyes, there's his nose, there's his mouth. That's all by electrical impulses going back on the eye. So that's the eye. Our bodies respond to UVB, ultraviolet B, which is 297 nanometer. That wavelength is what causes you to make vitamin D in your body. So you have in the very surface of your skin, you have receptors to UVB that converts then and creates your vitamin D.
Mhm.
So, but UV ultraviolet doesn't penetrate very deep.
Well, hold
So
on. Before we get into that deep science, because we're going to get into that, how did you embark into this, and how did
well,
you
okay,
stumble
so
across
yeah.
this?
So running my wife, I fell off a ladder 35 years ago. Not good. Bad flying lessons for the day, second floor height onto concrete.
Okay.
And I didn't break anything, but I hurt my back. And every year, 2 years, I go through severe pain. And that severe pain would last months, 3, 4, 5 months. And do the chiropractic thing, do physio, do those things, but still long period of pain. And then finally would subside. That was one thing. Second thing is I made a product for dentistry. And the product was a light to go into. I thought I had it here. Yeah, here it is. So I made a light for going in to cure the white fillings, and it uses a very powerful blue LED in the tip. So I had this on the market. I was one of the first ones on the market with a portable little high power blue LED to harden the fillings for dentists. And so I had that on the market. And the other side of the thing was that my wife had been quite ill over the years, hyperthyroidism, different problems combined, and we went the medical route normally, and we just kept getting it just got worse to the point where she was bedridden for a year and a half. So it was difficult times, but through that was the things that came together for me to be looking high and low for somebody in medical or naturopath or whatever that could help me improve her situation. So, and I believe there's a divine occurrences. I had two different people show up at my facility. Now I'm 45 years electronic design at this point today, and so I've designed all kinds of things. So go back, 18 years ago. I'm looking for somebody to help my wife, and two different people showed up at my shop where I design all this stuff for other companies and that. And they both didn't know each other, but they both said the same thing. Hey, why don't you go and see a doctor? Now you and I know Burlington. It's a half an hour away from my facility. They both told me the same thing. Go see this doctor. And I thought, wow, the same day, two different people. There's something behind this, and so I decided, okay, I'll make the trek. So and there's, for people who don't know the area, we're talking there's at least 100 doctors between in that half hour drive, that I could have, maybe run into, but this was the one I needed to. So the very first meeting, he says to my wife, he says, and he ended up helping her, but he says, stress can cause all sorts of problems, huge problems. Is there any stress you can get rid of in your life? Him, me, like I was the stress maker, and there was no doubt. I've been self-employed all my life. We've gone through times of absolutely no money, wondering where it would come through. Projects going south for some reason, just whatever. So it was really rough. So he turns to me immediately. He says, "What do you do?" He says, "Well, I make this powerful blue light for the dentist." He says, "Can you make it in red?" And I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Well, red is the right wavelength to photoactivate a drug that kills cancer cells." And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do that. Like, no problem. And the timing was such that, again, absolutely amazing timing. You couldn't coordinate this timing. He was ready that day to go and buy 10 red laser pointers, that you shoot at the wall, and put them together with elastic bands. He had already two patients lined up that had cancer, a woman with breast cancer, a guy with cancer on his throat. Both of them weren't doing well. And he was going to treat those people. He had bought, his brother was very wealthy. And so he was able as a doctor to buy anything he wanted. Well, he bought the drug for the two patients. It was $5,000 a pop. So he bought the drug for the two patients, and he was going to treat them with the laser pointers. I says, no. I said, can you give me 3 weeks and I'll build you a powerful light? And he says, sure. And so 3 weeks to the day, I delivered the powerful light. I had a team of employees and all hands on deck, and we built the first high power water cooled LED system that gave out the right wavelength for his
How did
his.
you how did you determine the right wavelength? Because
Because
if we watch sci-fi movies or things like that, and in the industry, some lasers can puncture holes right through concrete and steel walls. So
yes,
how did you determine what was the appropriate wavelength that was not going
he
to?
already yeah, he already knew. Now we're talking LEDs now, not lasers.
Oh, my
But the whole
mistake.
thing
Okay,
was,
right.
yeah. And so that was one thing. And the other thing, you can actually look at the reaction profile, which is the prodrug or the pre-drug, which your body makes, pre-compound, creates what's called porphyrins, and those porphyrins react to certain wavelengths. So yes, it reacts to 407 nanometer. Problem is 407 is like a UV, won't penetrate very deep. So useless to try and treat somebody with breast cancer if you got to go that deep into the tumor. So it couldn't be 407, couldn't be 505, couldn't be 535. Next wavelength. So you look at the curve, there's these, peak resonant wavelengths. And one of them appears in the red spectrum at 630. The last one, the last resonant wavelength is 635,
I've
which
got
is an orangey red.
I've got another question then. So how were they able to determine the initial wavelengths? Was this through uh, in
Lots of
vitro
science.
studies or
Yeah, so
like
there was
microscopy?
lots of studies already out there that were already showing, as a matter of fact, showing the resonant wavelengths, but they were using typically already 407 for the surface of the skin to kill cancer on the surface of the skin.
Right.
But 407 would not have any penetration, so needed to be red. And then it needed to have enough power. You needed to have an incredible amount of optical power to be able to penetrate that deep and
Sure.
then resonate. So when you get the right resonant frequency, like it's like that, just like that woman that sings the magical note that busts the
Ah,
glass open.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you got to hit that magical note, and the magical note is the orangey red at 635 nanometer. You can see it going down the highway at night. You see the stoplights, the tail lights on cars. Some cars have the orangey red. You'll see it very distinctly, and some cars will have the deep red, which is a deeper red. That's 660 nanometer. We use that for photobiomodulation for getting rid of pain and inflammation because it's a darker red, but it actually penetrates deeper. But the 635 is the right wavelength to hit for that resonant. Once you use the prodrug, you create these porphyrins in the cancer cells. So all of a sudden, the cancer cells have an overabundance of these porphyrin molecules. The porphyrin molecule, the next step to the porphyrin molecule is the iron goes in the middle of it and it becomes stable, and that's the iron in your blood. So everybody has porphyrins in their body. Everybody has that prodrug in their body. So this is a natural stuff. And you just take an elevated amount, whether you orally for other types of cancer, deeper cancers, or topically for skin cancer. So it was a long time. 1990, it was already approved for bladder cancer.
What was this drug that you're talking, this pro drug that you're talking about?
Yeah,
What,
it's
what,
5-ALA. It's delta amino levuladic acid. short form 5-ALA. And
Okay.
so everybody has this on board. But when you take an elevated amount of it,
Hmm.
the cancer cells can't create a whole pile of these porphyrins, and the normal cells slough it off. And so now when you come along with the red light, the neat part is that porphyrin is still unstable. So as soon as you hit it with red light, it breaks it apart and releases a singlet oxygen right inside the cancer cell.
Okay. So normally I like to conclude these interviews with our guests just saying words of wisdom, or how would you like to leave a message for the listenership and the viewership?
Okay, I would say that one of the key things is to take charge of your own health. And to remember that you've been taught that there's a pill for every ill. You got to change your mind on that. You got to start looking at what can I do as prevention. Much more into prevention. Also, when you do have problems, you're going to need the right types of technology to help you through those issues. Whatever that might be. So it's take charge of your health.
Are you a professional in the health and wellness space? Maybe you are a clinic owner, a practitioner, a natural healer, or you're in charge of purchasing products, or you're a distributor, and your business is built all around biohacking and longevity or wellness or even precision health. Friday, October the 2nd, Longevity Wellness Expo is designed specifically for you. This is going to be our professionals and practitioners event. It's a private B2B evening exclusive to the industry before the doors open to the general public. You're going to get a chance to meet clinic owners, founders, innovators, and health leaders from across the country. Additionally, you're going to get a sneak peek at all of the vendors before the crowds arrive. You're going to see the latest in all of the health products and hear 3 business-focused keynote presentations specifically designed for practitioners and wellness entrepreneurs to grow your business. We're excited because this is where partnerships begin and distribution deals can happen. Your ticket also includes full access to the weekend for the whole expo. Friday night runs from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. at the theater at the Great Canadian Toronto. This is your personal invitation to shape the future of health in Canada.
15 years back, I realized that light could make a huge difference on the body. I ended up designing this very powerful light using LED technology. With this amount of very high power density, it can reach through the tissues and travel right to the joints. But the key is that the power density and the area is extremely important to deliver that light into that. The mitochondria receives that light and converts that energy into the cell. So it's like giving the cell super high octane fuel, and they run like a jet, and they're able to do all the things for repair in that. What are the products we have? Well, we have a small device, which is actually large when it comes to light therapy. You have a fairly large area of light and a high power density that can be used for different parts of the body, like your fingers, shoulder, back, neck, knees, ankle, anywhere on the body. And then we have what's called the mini canopy, which is about a foot square in size. And then we have our full-size canopy, which is basically 6 of the mini canopies. And then we have another device, which is the helmet, and that device can help for mental issues, for brain injuries, for concussions, for PTSD, TBI, all of those kinds of things. And there's new research out there that shows it could be helpful for not only strokes, but dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and just different brain issues. Our plans are to move this technology into every area of the world where there's pain and inflammation, which is basically everywhere, and to expand that so people understand all the applications where this technology can be used to help them in their health in the body as a wellness device. People are looking for how they can treat themselves without drugs.
And that wraps up another episode of the Longevity Wellness Podcast. Thank you to our guest, Dr. Jonathan Schoeff. This man is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so glad that we spoke about all sorts of different types of themes within the longevity and biohacking and wellness space. And I'm also glad that we covered peptides. When it comes to your health, guys, you only have one body. So it's just wise for you to make educated decisions when it comes to introducing foreign compounds into your body. And with that being said, a big shout out and thank you to our sponsors. These products are services and products that I believe in and that I personally use, and they wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't believe in them. And so when you want to improve your life and you're looking for different types of products, rest assured that you can feel confident in the choices that you're making from the brands that you see on this podcast. So thank you to our sponsors. Also, tickets are available for the expo, www.longevitywellnessexpo.ca. The big show is coming up October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Canada's largest and biggest wellness, biohacking, and longevity event of its kind in our 4th year. So excited about that. So if you like this episode, hit a like, hit a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.